Well, I think we know what time it is. It's time for Tom's Guitar Show. Okay then. Hello everybody, welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with the guitar, and they call me on the phone and they ask me, they say, "Hey man, what's your show about anyway?" And I say, "Well, it's about an hour, and about guitars, guitar players, guitar playing, all things guitaristic." So occasionally you may see a phone number come across your screen, and you can call me up and ask me a question about the care and feeding of your guitar, what kind of guitar is right for you, how to play the guitar, some related topic like the guitarrón, the cítara, the lute, oud, vihuela, banjos, balalaika, bouzouki, bajos, sextos, tiples, cavaquinhos, ukuleles, banjolales, banjolins, and mandolas, and mandoras, and mandocellos, banjolins, and I don't know, harpsichords and harmoniums, and harps, and auto harps, and pixie harps, and Celtic harps, and concert harps, and mouth harps,
Jews harps.
yeah, pipe organs, piccolos, clarinets, clavinets, saxophones, sackbuts, trombones, and trombomarinas, crumhorns, quartholts, cornetos. Pianos. Actually, anything musical. Politics, world events, your own personality problems, that's fine. We didn't talk about zithers and xylophones, but you get the idea. You can, anything like that's fine. But just keep it clean. This is a family program. Yeah. It's kind of funny when once somebody called in and asked for dating advice from me and from Phil.
Ah.
So, but then again, those who don't know, teach, or who can't do, anyway.
So did Phil offer any dating advice?
I don't remember. This was a long time ago. I don't know.
Because Phil's older than I am, and I'm 3 days older than dirt.
Yeah, well, I'm actually relatively young for this show, now that Sarah has left the control room and Mr. Skopinski has resumed his position. I'm the youngest one here. Not saying much. I grizzled beard, and anyway, but becomes sort of an old man show. Occasionally we get the youthful intern or volunteer.
But young people are perfectly welcome to listen.
That's right.
Call in if they want to.
I'm actually hoping that a very young guitar player shows up and does a little twang Christmas dueling Stratocaster. I brought my Stratocaster so I could be in sync with him, and I brought an extra microphone for his amp, but I haven't seen him yet, so there's There was somebody who, I should be playing guitar now, but I mean, there was somebody who called the guitar shop that I hang out at, and they were looking for a guitar player to play at a wedding, and they said, I know guitar players are pretty flaky, can you find somebody who'll, be there and not, have too many problems? And the guy recommended me, because I
Show
always,
up on time and sober?
well, I show up about 5 minutes later than you were hoping, but sober and ready to work. And I don't have any serious personal issues that you'd, most of my personal issues are revolving around me acquiring and maintaining guitars. So, I can relate a story of last night. Anyway, they recommended me. But anyway, last night I've had this terrible issue with my Giannini electric nylon string guitar from Brazil that I've had for many years. But one day I just developed this terrible hum, electronic hum, and which is really baffling. So I took it to the repair guy, and he replaced all the wires, the pickup, and the pot, the potentiometer that controls the volume, and it still was there. He tried all these other things to think of, and then and they was in the back room of the guitar shop for several years, and every now and then he'd haul it out and try something, and then he'd get frustrated, put it back in the case, and put it in the back room of this guitar shop. It's been there for years, so I went and got it. Took it home and thought, maybe I'll be lucky. Maybe I'll plug it in and it won't hum. I plugged it in, it was like, bzzz, And then I was talking to one of my banjo students who's not really involved with this, and told him this story about, because he saw it hanging there on the wall. And
60 cycle hum?
Yeah, I think so. So some sort of interference, but there's no he rewired it and everything. So anyway. So Electro-Harmonix makes a little pedal, which I've had on the show a number of times, called the Humdebugger, and it's for single-coil electric guitars. So I decided to plug that in because it's a different kind of mechanism altogether. The acoustic electric nylon string. It's not using the strings aren't metal, so they're not going to take this guitar has there's a magnetic field generated over the pickups because there's a magnetic and a copper wire, a magnet with a copper wire, a coil over it. So I plugged in the Humdebugger, and it went. It was gone. So I got my Giannini back. But you see, I've been obsessively collecting guitars to try to replace my Gypsy Kings and my Giannini that both malfunctioned within months of weeks of each other a couple of years ago. So now my Giannini's playable as long as I use the Humdebugger.
Right.
I don't know. Man. That's right. Anyway, I should be playing stuff though. You know, it was basically a blues, but it's really important that we all remember that this is, I believe this is Beethoven's birthday today. So, I don't know how old he'd be. Well over 200, but yeah, we're still talking about Ludwig. Louis? Louis von Beethoven? Yeah.
He was born in 1770.
1770?
1770, so
Yeah.
that would be 130 plus 14, so
Yeah.
144.
Yeah.
My math is correct. No,
200,
200. Wait a minute.
250,
1870 to 1970.
254 years.
Yeah.
So he's 254 today.
Wow. Happy birthday, I didn't realize that.
40, 54. That's 70 something to, no, you're right. Wait a minute. He didn't die at 44. No, it was this his birthday. Okay, this is okay.
Yeah, 1970 to now would be 44 years.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. 244.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and he died when he was like 56,
1827.
27. This is 57. Yeah, that's a sobering thought to think that when Beethoven was my age, he was dead. What do I have to show for it?
I heard about the people that went to his gravesite.
Hmm.
They heard a rubbing sound in the coffin.
Mhm.
And they looked in, there was Beethoven with an eraser decomposing.
That's right. Yeah. I've also heard that the one about Mozart's music being played backwards. So. Anyway,
The Beatles. Can't remember what song it is, but yeah, the Beatles ripped off a classic or two by playing the melody backwards,
yeah.
and some by playing the melody forwards.
Contrapuntal retrograde. Huh. Victor Borge would play the music upside down and then see the error of his ways and write it. I mean, you put it right side up. Yeah, it was a gag. Which, I mean, I should announce that Phil might be returning to us. He's had a fall and an injury. Now but he's getting out on Christmas Eve.
Phil being our classic sound and graphics guy.
Yeah, and also the one who knows more about Victor Borge than the rest of us put together. So anyway,
Should we mention your personal appearances?
I suppose we could mention I will be at the Tuscan Moon Friday and Saturday night in beautiful downtown Kelowna. I'll try to get there by 6:30. I was supposed to be there at 6, but I've been kind of late. But I actually got there early one night last week. But I'm hoping for Friday and Saturday. If it's really slow on Friday, they're going to call me and tell me not to show up. But Saturday was packed. So if you want to go there and have a nice, kind of holiday dinner before the holidays, to my dulcet tones in beautiful downtown Kelowna, the Tuscan Moon, I would recommend getting reservations because it may. Friday was very slow, and Saturday was
So
packed.
reservations should be easy to get on Friday.
Well, we don't know. It might be packed on this Friday. This last Friday it's very hit and miss. Kelowna was like really, the joint was jumping. The town was swinging on Saturday night, but it kind of rolled up the sidewalks on Friday. So anyway, I'll be there. I'll be at the Journey Church in Coralville, off of Oakdale Boulevard on Sunday at 10:30, and I believe the whole crew is going to go caroling somewhere at 12:30. So if you want to go and carol with a bunch of people, I guess I'll be there with my folk guitar, strumming all the chords to keep everybody together. So we're going to go to Lantern Park or someplace. I don't actually know yet, but you can go to Journey if you want to go, caroling with a bunch of people. And I'll be doing the guitar. So that's Sunday. And after that, I think New Year's Eve at the Tuscan Moon. Get reservations if you want to do that. That'll be on New Year's Eve. I don't know what my hours are going to be. We haven't determined that yet. And after that, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I think they're going to lay me off on Fridays in Kelowna. So I've been out booking gigs, trying to, and I have a few booked for March and April. So I'm trying to work on my Fridays. And if anybody has any ideas, would like to, hire me somewhere for a Friday night, I'd be looking first of the year.
Mention your website.
Well, allthingsguitartom.com. And I'm available for all kinds of things. I actually like the idea of showing up places I don't normally go. The Tuscan Moon has been a great gig, but it's like every week, and I play parties and things. When people ask me to do something, and I'll take a night off there, and I'll go somewhere else. But I haven't been
Weddings.
And banquets and things and events, a lot of events. I haven't done that many weddings lately, but I've done a lot of events of various kinds. But I haven't been out there looking for like other gigs. So people call me, and if nobody calls me, I have a gig. already, so it's kind of easy. And I don't really like, I was telling this woman that she booked me for a couple of gigs, but the first ones she had open in her calendar, Friday nights, which were in March and April, respectively. So I said, well, getting a gig, looking for a gig is like trying to get a date when you're in junior high. It's not, it's kind of, I kind of find it unpleasant, a lot of times in the past I've had people ask me,
Yeah.
not only for dates in junior high, but yeah. I got asked to all the girl ask boy dances, actually. But that was a long time ago. So anyway, so yeah, I'm just looking for gigs. I'd like to do stuff where I play maybe someplace where I can play more loudly. Because at the Tuscan Moon, I pretty much always played nylon string guitar.
Background music.
Get background for people having dinner. They can hear it. And it's really hard for me to work the sound out so everybody can hear it, but it's not overpowering so they can talk and everything like that. I've played the occasional concert where people are supposed to be quiet, and recitals and things, but less in later life than I did in the old days. But I haven't really played a regular bar for a while. There's a place I used to play in Cedar Rapids where I would play a hollow body electric guitar kind of loudly. I had a fair-sized amplifier, and I didn't turn it way down. And they wanted me kind of loud in the lounge area, because it was like the front room was kind of a lounge area. They had this sort of waterfall thing going, and then you'd go to the back where the dining area was. So they wanted to be able to hear it in the dining area, but they wanted to have it nice and loud and upbeat. So they had other guitar players who played really quiet and really slow stuff, and they didn't really like that. They liked me because I was, I was doing like, and I looped that, funk and like jump blues stuff, and then occasional like flamenco or bossa nova stuff, but a lot of blues-based kind of fusion stuff, and I would just, crank it out for about 3 hours. And they'd pay me decently, and then the flood came, and that was the end of that gig. But it was good for a little while. That's like 6 years ago. So, that's 2008.
08 was the flood, yeah.
Yeah, well, all right. So I had a good gig until 2008, and then anyway.
The 500-year flood.
Yeah,
Well, I think 93 was the 100-year flood, and then
Yeah.
08 was the 500-year flood.
We had the 1,000 one probably in a
100
couple of
years
years.
doesn't take as long as it used to.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Well, no, that was the, that was a 500-year flood, but this was the 100-year flood, so that's different, It's a different flood. So we'll get the 1,000-year flood or the 5-year flood or something next, probably. So anyway, but I'd like to get a gig, though, where kind of like that, where I can be a little bit more up-tempo and maybe a little bit louder. I don't have to be real loud, like like a rock and roll club type of thing, but kind of a little bit more aggressive side, a lounge type of gig or something. It'd be kind of fun for me to do. And I'm really grooving on this guitar. I haven't had this very long. This is actually a Mexican Strat, but this is like the top of the line deluxe. I don't know what it's called, Player's Edition or something. A Player's Strat. It's made in Mexico, but it has the noiseless pickups, and it's. I'm really digging this guitar these days. I like a Stratocaster. Of course, I play whatever I play on it.
Got something seasonal in your bag, this being our last show before New Year.
Well, I play a little bit of Christmas music. I've actually planned a Christmas medley, with a fellow who,
With the guest star.
yeah, the guest star who's not here, so. He's yawning. I should show a little enthusiasm for the season finale.
Made me yawn too.
Yeah. Contagious.
It's catching.
Yeah, I mean, so that was the Cherry Tree Carol. It's an old Appalachian song, I think. Maybe it goes way back, but it's the Apocrypha, there's a story about there's a story about the
Cherry tree bowed down to Mary.
the cherry tree bowed down to Mary because Jesus asked it to in vitro, or in uterus, or in utero, I guess you'd say. But there's a story in the Apocrypha about the cherry tree and stuff. Didn't make it in the final cut after the Council of Nicaea, in the Bible, but it's one of those stories. So anyway, kind of a pretty little melody though. I like that melody. So anyway. Kind of like that part. I mean, the other ones are fine. You get your.
Silent Night was written for guitar.
That's right. The story there, but Silent Night was that the organ broke down, and they didn't know what to do. So Franz Gruber, or whatever his name was, and somebody else, they worked it out on the guitar so they could sing something in the church. And I don't know what the truth is, because most of these stories, are stories, and they're. But so I used to play every Christmas Eve in a Lutheran church, St. Paul's Lutheran church, at their they called their Christmas Eve Mass, and so I'd always have to play that one because they were Lutherans and they really liked that one because it made kind of
That's a German story.
It's a German story, so they're all kind of German about it and everything. So I'm not actually German, but I'm mixed race. I'm kind of German-Irish.
You're an American.
Yeah, kind of.
Most of us aren't pure anything.
Yeah, well, even they over there aren't pure
Yeah.
anything. So, yeah. So we had our DNA checked, and I'm so many percentage German or French from the one markers. Another percentage is English or Irish from some other markers. Some Scandinavian, 3% Neanderthal, and a lot of non-specific Northern European. So I don't know. Maybe there's a Bohemian in there or something. I don't know. Could be a Moravian, or who knows, So, and then I was just reading they were saying about the differences between the races are extremely superficial. Because there's some people who think that some races are smarter than others. The side note, I've actually know some some young Asian kids who do very well in the math club and the stuff, in school.
Right.
And they're almost, they're all children of foreign parents, and South Asian and East Asian, Chinese, Korean, and Indian, and they sort of feeling a superiority. But what the really thing it really is that they are culturally pushed toward those things. I think my ancestors worked
Parents
very.
make them do their homework.
That's right. My ancestors who came here a long time ago worked very hard, before they became established and went to sea like the rest of everybody else. So it's been. So I read this thing saying that the Chinese kids, people who are ethnically Chinese, but they've been here for a few generations, they're just the same as everybody else. The kids don't do any better in school or anything else. They've been here for several generations. It's just it's a recent immigrant thing. So anyway, so it's interesting. But anyway, so everybody's apparently the differences between the races are quite negligible. Actually, it's just that some people you can't leave them out in the sun as long.
Well, if we share 98% of our DNA with chimps,
Yeah, that's right. Well, somewhere I read that we're more closely related to chimps than we are to Neanderthal people, but I'm part Neanderthal.
well,
so-
yeah, that's, the most recent theory is that everybody except pure black Africans is 2 to 3% Neanderthal.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So we're obviously more closely related to Neanderthals than we are to chimps. As
Yeah.
far as I know, we don't have any chimp blood,
Right.
not in the last million years or so.
I heard this guy who was African who was talking about the superiority of the Africans because they aren't part Neanderthal. That's why, people northern people, other people are like really hairy, because they're because we're,
Ice
Thin-
Age. The Neanderthals thrived during the Ice Age.
right. And but then there was, but some other research was, I read this thing was saying that the Africans down there have other archaic people's blood in them that are genetics that other people don't, that other people from other continents don't. So they have some other kind of.
Yeah.
But so I'm going to operate on the. I'm going to operate on the assumption that there's only one
They're
race.
not-
It's the human race.
They're
And,
not pure Cro-Magnon down there.
No, we're all mixed up, and we're all human, and so
Or is that French? Should that be Cro-Magnon or something?
Cro-Magnon or something like that. Magnon and Neanderthal, but I call
Yeah.
it Neanderthal because
Yeah, because we're English, or we speak English. And people speak
After
German,
a
say
fashion.
Neanderthal.
I speak Iowa, and
Yeah, well, Middle America is where English is spoken correctly.
that's right. This is where we speak English properly. So
We're the people without an accent.
that's right. I don't have an accent.
Yeah.
I had a student for a while, a guitar student for a while, and he's here because his girlfriend was here at the university. He had finished a year of study in England. He was from Arkansas, and he had a very pronounced accent. But he was he's a Rhodes Scholar, and had spent a year in England, and had done many things, studied many things or whatever, did advanced, I think, a master's degree in something, and he was going to go and get a PhD eventually, and everything. Very cultured, gentlemanly fellow, but he had this Arkansas accent. But on him, it didn't sound like, a hillbilly. It was actually very kind of musical. It was,
Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar with an Arkansas accent.
yeah, right. But I mean, just goes to show you that people 2 states down from us aren't really any dumber than we are.
Well,
Most people in
I don't
Minnesota. What?
No, Minnesota and Arkansas are dumber than us.
Yeah, all right, that's right. Yeah, well, we're. I used to make Minnesota jokes all the time. Because,
Here in the Corn Belt, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana,
yeah,
that's where we do it right.
that's right. Well, I don't know about Indiana. No, but I used to tell Minnesota jokes because I used to play at the Cafe Extempore in Minneapolis. And I had another gig up there. I can't remember where it was, a spaghetti place or something. They specialized in big plates of spaghetti, and I played there. And a long time ago. And at the time, the Iowa joke was very popular. And there were disc jockeys who were telling Iowa jokes, and it became very popular. So I was there as a...
Iowa is the acronym for idiots out wandering around.
Right, things like that. And some other ones which I can't really speak of on a program like this.
Family show.
That's right. And so I took every kind of ethnic thing. At the same time, we had the Polish Pope, and there are the Polish jokes, and of course the Bohemian joke, which was popular around this area because there are a lot of people from what we call Bohemia.
Well, yeah, the Bohemian jokes on the Cedar Valley are the same as the Polish jokes,
Right.
where they have Polacks.
Right. So anyway, so I would just change these jokes to young fellow from Minnesota,
Yeah.
because I actually had this experience riding in a car. In the back seat of a car being driven by a young fellow from Minnesota. And he said he didn't like Iowa. And he heard all these jokes and stuff. And I said, have you ever been to Iowa? He said, yes, he had. He had actually ridden down on Interstate 35 on his way to Kansas City once. He went through Iowa. And his impression of Iowa, having maybe not ever gotten out of the car for anything but gasoline, was not favorable, But really, he hadn't experienced Iowa, and all he knew was these jokes, you see. And the problem was he was a fairly simple, in-the-head kind of guy. I think he was, anyway, but a lot of other things maybe think of that. So after I became sufficiently offended, and this happens to me, I'm kind of a patient fellow usually, but then when I become sufficiently offended, I sort of snap. Now, I know the Germans, that's a German thing, you know, like they take it and take it and take it, and then they'd like invade Belgium or something, you know? So, so for a number of years, I told young fellow from Minnesota jokes. You know, the one about the guy asking directions, and he asks some guy, pulls over to ask the guy with the clipboard, looks like he knows what he's doing, and says, how do you get to the hotel? He says, well, down the road, green side up, and then you have to turn right on the you know, on the interstate, and green side up, and then you take the third exit, and then green side up. And the guy said, okay, I got the directions, but how come you keep yelling green side up? Well, I got a couple of guys from Minnesota who are laying sod. You know, that kind of joke. And some that are worse than that. But really, I really hold no.
Of course, the thing about driving through Iowa on the interstate, I think it's the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie where they're driving along, and they go past the McDonald's and the Walmart and the Best Buy, and we're going through that same town again.
Yeah, well, the interstate is maybe not the most picturesque. They usually put them through the area that requires the least amount of grading and so forth. So
And pretty much every town looks alike from the interstate.
that's right.
Like, so you go by the McDonald's and the Burger King and Walmart.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, not much of Rocky and Bullwinkle takes place in Frostbite Falls,
Yeah,
Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah.
If you drive I-80 from one end of Iowa to the other, the only civilization that you'll see would be Coralville and Des Moines. And Des Moines only if you take the roundabout that goes right through
235?
town. Yeah, if you stay on 80.
Quad Cities.
No, not even in the Quad Cities. You don't go anywhere near the town. If you're on 80, you're beyond it. I mean, you see signs for it, but so. What does that say about Coralville?
Yeah.
We've got to be on our best behavior because we're the showcase of Iowa, I guess.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Unless you go on 235 or
235, yeah.
in Des Moines.
Oh, little town of Coralville, how's doing? I think it's the way that you go. I've driven to San Francisco many times in my youth. Because I always want to take my guitars with me and stuff, and so I'd always drive. It takes about 50 hours or something, but there's not that much going on near the road anywhere. You drive through Nebraska and then
Oh, yeah, once you
Wyoming.
get west of Iowa, it's really barren alongside the interstates.
Yeah. And then I guess you get to see Salt Lake City from a distance, and then you veer south and get to drive through Reno eventually, and Tahoe. Then there's some nice landscape, interesting landscapes, but
Of course, I usually go west on I-40, so once you get past Oklahoma, about every 50 miles, there's an Indian casino.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I wonder how they're doing these days with all the competition. Yeah, I don't know. course, this will be our last show of the year.
Better hit old lang syne before we get
Yeah.
out of here.
Twenty 2015, huh?
Our last live show, I suppose we'll be here in reruns for the next couple of weeks.
I'd like to think that I'll live on in reruns for a long time to come. Not forever. Nothing lasts forever. In a few billion years, the sun's going to like swell up and incinerate the Earth.
Yeah, I saw it, and the moon's orbit is decaying, so in, like 2 or 3 million years, it's going to disintegrate into the atmosphere.
Only 2 or 3 million years?
Well, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to look it up and see what it is, but
I thought it was getting farther away, but maybe I'm wrong.
I read, well, maybe, but the thing I read said that the orbit was decaying and it would eventually disintegrate into the atmosphere.
Kaboom, yeah. Well, my son is all set on us as a species colonizing other planets, because that's the only way we'll survive, evolve, and go beyond. Not in his lifetime.
Yeah, but a rocket ship to reach the nearest star is like 1,000 years, or maybe more.
Yeah. Well, either you got to figure out some way to warp space and time, or else you just have to like figure people are going to live many generations on a
And
rocket
we don't
ship.
know if the nearest star has a habitable planet.
Yeah.
As far as we know, this is the only human habitable planet in this solar system.
Yeah, well, this is probably the only one in the solar system in this region of the galaxy and everything too. So, might as well take care of it, huh?
So like I say, unless they find something a lot faster than rocket ships,
Yeah. Yeah, well,
somebody might discover that. But
might be a while. Yeah.
when distances are measured in light years, and light travels pretty fast.
Yeah, and we can't get anywhere close to that speed. And if we could, there's no counting on us being able to survive it.
Yeah.
So we might get really short, really fast.
Right.
And, yeah. Well, I didn't watch that many episodes of Star Trek, so I'm more of a pragmatist, I guess. But see, he's not figuring he's going to do it in his lifetime, but maybe he'd like to contribute.
Is he studying physics or something?
Yeah, physics and engineering. He's working on that Juno project for NASA. It's like it's a space probe going to one of the moons of Jupiter.
Oh.
And so he's working on that. He's only a sophomore in college, so he's got a ways to go in his life, but he's got a pretty good start.
We were that young once upon a time.
Yeah, well, when I was his age, I was practicing about 14 hours a day.
Used to ride my dinosaur to school.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people think Flintstones is a documentary, but actually,
Yeah, Alley Oop and I were schoolmates.
that's right. The only thing is that when you were younger, they had cars had fins, and but they were still cars. And, they had electric lights and phones and things. No internet, but you didn't have a mobile phone. Dick Tracy did,
Yeah,
though.
somebody was talking about that the other day. Kids, when I was your age, a phone was bolted to the wall.
Yeah, right. Well, you had phones. I mean, Yeah.
But when I was real young, we were on a 4-party line, and then we were on a 2-party line for a while. I was about 7 or 8 when we finally got a private line.
That was a while ago.
And I was about 8 or 9 when we got TV.
I see. We didn't have a TV, but the other people did. We just didn't get one. We were late to get one.
I grew up in Peoria, and when I was real little, we didn't have stations. People would have to put up a 40-foot tower and a big VHF antenna and watch the Quad Cities.
I see.
But then when Peoria finally got stations, we got a TV. Because downstate Illinois, TV's always been UHF, so the antennas are little.
Mm-hmm.
And since when they got them local, we didn't have to get them way up in the air. You could just put it on the roof.
Yeah. So you got UHF stations.
Yeah. Yeah, 19, 25, 31, and 43.
Well, there's a lot of stations in.
What's the 3 networks and PBS?
Yeah, I grew up here in Iowa City, and we got Cedar Rapids, but we had to get antenna because the rabbit ears couldn't pick up Cedar Rapids. They didn't have PBS. But the old days. I was talking to somebody. They're talking about how everybody used to sit there on their porch and they would visit with each other, and then the TV came in. Everybody would sit home and watch TV. But before it was the radio.
Oh, yeah. We used to listen to the Lone Ranger and
Yeah,
Big John and Sparky,
that's right.
Roy Rogers and Gene Autry,
That's right.
the Saturday Night Barn Dance.
Oh, those were the days.
Back when WLS in Chicago was the Prairie Farmer Station.
I used to listen to WS. Well, anyway, that's it for this year. I guess come back next year. 2 weeks off. More excitement.
Well, next week will be a rerun. We'll be back first of the year, or first Tuesday.